In this video, I'm going to show you how to use n8n and Airtable to produce bulk videos using Veo 3 and ChatGPT images. So we are going to do it as a two-step process. We'll create a workflow to get assets, and then we'll create a workflow to create assets. So this is the right way to do it for production, especially if you want to do bulk creation. Usually on YouTube, we see people creating videos and then have a wait step and then have a pooling system in order to retrieve the video after it's been created and then update it inside Airtable or Google Sheet or wherever you want to update it. This is not the right way to do it. This is only good for demonstration. Because if you do that, you have to wait for each production to be ready in order to process the next one. This is not what we want. We want a system that's capable of producing stuff in bulk without actually breaking or without having to wait for hours. So the way it works is that we have those two workflows. So the first one starts with a GET request. The post request, sorry, don't make the mistake, because usually when we use Airtable, we use a GET request. Here we have a GET request for Airtable, but we have a post request for replicate. So inside the Airtable database, we have the media assets table. This media assets table contains the assets that are being produced. So if I show you the images, so we get 4 images per generation, and we get 1 video just because we don't want to consume excessive resources. So here, this is the kind of videos that we are getting. But
Most agencies quit after one follow-up.
So this is really good. And the images we create for, because sometimes the prompt isn't as respected as we would like it to be. So for usually allows for one to be picked. There is always a good one. So this is the result. So the first step is that we need to create workflow and make sure that we have a webhook URL. So you're going to click on production URL and copy that and save it on your notepad or somewhere. We'll need it for the assets creator workflow. So that's what we are going to look at now. So we have 2 different kind of triggers. One that triggers when the checkbox is clicked inside the prompt table inside the Airtable database, and the other one is an MCP connected to an MCP server, so it passes the record ID, and then we make sure that the record ID is set exactly like that. So record, and then capital IG. We get the record ID from the Airtable database, so from the prompts table. So here we have a very detailed prompt, and here we check if the prompt is actually a prompt type video or prompt type images. If this is a prompt type video, it goes into this upper branch. If this is a prompt type images, it goes into this lower branch. So here you will see that we have what I call a prompt modifier. So if you haven't changed the prompt manually or verified the prompt manually, this is like a safeguard. So make sure the speech is 20 words max. Change it in Gary Albert style with high energy, but you can obviously change that and use your own writing style. Convert all numbers to text for AI voice delivery. Include a strong click CTA, no subtitles. Replace those long hyphens by commas. Do not use uppercase words. So this is a little bit weird also using Veo 3. If you have a uppercase word, it will break it down by letters. Like now becomes NOW. Obviously, we don't want that. We want it to say now and not NOW. So this needs to be changed. Here we have the PI request. So this is very simple. This is a post request. This is just going to this URL, Google Veo 3 prediction. You will find that in replicate anyway. Here we have the authentication. I've already mentioned that in a previous video, but I will repeat it again. This is super important. You do not want to have your authentication set like authorization and then your API key here, because this is going to be exposed. Instead, you want to use either auth, which is basically the same than that, but the authentication, the API key gets encrypted. So it can be intercepted or it can be stolen by hackers. So here you're going to make sure you select either auth. If this is empty, you will create new credentials, and this is going to look like that. So you need to rename it properly, because those credentials can be used over and over again for different purposes. And you will see that we'll be using that in the get set workflow as well. Next, we'll just send a JSON body. So this JSON body is very simple. This is input and then prompt. And then here we use the content of the basic LLM chain. The output is JSON.text. And then we make sure that this is made JSON safe by using this to JSON string. And here we use the webhook URL, which we've previously created in the get set workflow. And webhook event filters, we just set completed. So each time a generation is being completed, this is going to ping this webhook with the actual content. And then as the next step, we just want to make sure that we create a new role inside Airtable, inside the image assets table. So we use the name, which is an array. We use the generation ID, and that's really important because that's what's going to be used in order to match the content to the right role. We set the status to processing, and then here we just attach the product, the angle, and the prompt. As always, when you're attaching stuff, it needs to be set as an array, so don't forget to use those square brackets. Next, I'm going to show you what the getter set looks like. So this is very simple. We have this webhook. So this webhook is a post method. Really important. If you use a get method, just like in Airtable, this is not going to work. So within this webhook, we get the production URL, which is what's going to be used in order to match the right role. But we also get different kinds of URLs. So this is the URL to cancel the production. We won't use that. So I think within the hour, the data gets deleted or something like that. Anyway, that's not useful for us. Next, we are going to look for a record which contains the generation ID within the generation ID column using this filter formula. So here we pass the JSON.body.id. And then here as the next step, we just use an HTTP request, which is a GET request, using the GET URL. So if I show you what this looks like, it is like that. We use the same authentication, so either auth for replicate. So this is going to give us the output. So when we are producing videos, we are only requesting one output. So this is only going to produce one URL. But for images, we'll get 4. So we have 4 different URLs inside this output parameter. So we just need to make sure that this gets converted into an array and mapped correctly. So here, as you can see, we are also using, so this is accepted by Airtable. So inside Airtable, it looks like that. So in images, they are being attached in this format. And then videos, they are being attached in this format. So this is a very simple process to create pretty much unlimited videos and images using an Airtable. And as I've mentioned previously, this is a lot better than the polling and weighting system, because this allows to create as many images as you want all in one go. If you are to create like hundreds of images or hundreds of videos in one go, you will need to add a loop item. So you're going to get record, and here you're going to delete that, and you're going to loop item, batch size, can be set to 1. And here you're going to delete that. And then add a loop. And then attach that back. So this is going to process each generation individually, and you can keep that running for hours and it will never break. So that's the process. I hope this was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.